Hey, good almost afternoon. Good morning, everyone. How you doing today? We are live. We're going to be continuing part 2 of the best guitarists of the 80s challenge. Let's see who we got. David's here. Hi, David. How are you doing? Jason's here. Great to see you, Jason. We have, I see people are funneling in as we speak. Since I've seen you last, I've had a complete teardown of the studio and a reassembly. I've done everything but the lights. Not everything's working. Had some serious issues with, I had a wireless thing for my PC that went down. That's on order. And we have, don't have the lights up yet, but here, let's see if we can take a look around a little bit. New studio, a lot of the same stuff from the old studio. What I'm going to be doing is filling up this back wall with a lot of stuff. So it's going to have all sorts of different things in there, posters and anything that people send in. It's going to be up there on the wall. I'm going to do it up back there. I've got a lot of stuff that I haven't busted out of the garage yet, so we're going to fill that back wall up with a lot of cool stuff. Let's see who else we got here. Chris is here. Hey, Chris. It's afternoon here. Yes it is. It's almost afternoon here. It's 11:14. Jason says new studio. That's right. So I'm thinking also of putting another camera location back here so we can get another view of the studio. Think about doing that. Kevin's here somewhat. Oh, Chris says new studio looking good. Thanks, man. Thanks. It's better. It's cooler in here. That was the big problem. And I have some storage in this one too. Coke's here. Hi, Coke. How are you doing today? So let's do a little news and then we'll get into the best guitarists of the 80s. What's been going on? New studio. A lot of new things going on. We're going to be, next 3 months, I've got a goal. My goal is to be able to do all the podcasts and all the live streaming full time. That's my goal. I'm always asking people to set goals and chip away at them over time. I've been doing my best juggling, a regular job and all of the things that we've been doing here. And I've just got to the point where it's time. It's time to just go for it. So you're going to see a lot of stuff going on. I have a 3-month goal where I'll be doing this full time. A lot more live streams. The Academy will be finished out completely in those 3 months. Advertising will be going on. Doing a lot of fun stuff online with the podcast and with here. So you'll be seeing a lot of, I'll be doing Patreon again too. A lot of PayPal things, Patreon for people. Because not everybody wants to go in and do a membership site and all of those things. And, that's great. Some people just want to listen to the podcast. Some people just want to do the videos. So I'm going to be having a lot of ways that people can contribute to help me keep this stuff moving forward. So that's, you'll be seeing that over the next 3 months. I'll be getting everything settled, everything together, things at home. I see everyone in the chat here, and I know what I'm close with you. I know things that everyone's been going through. We've been going through some stuff here that's cleared up. So now's the time. So over the next 3 months, things are going to amp up more and more, and that's all I'll say there. And this new studio is kind of the first step of it here. I'll get some pictures. I'm going to be putting those on, let's see, we've got on the Facebook group, I'm taking my black Strat and we're going to be doing a David Gilmore remodel on that. There's things coming in the mail. Let's talk about that a little bit. Let me grab some. So this here is my first Strat. I bought this in Philadelphia when I was in college in the late 80s, 89, maybe 90, something like that. And it was seafoam green. and they sold it to me as an American 57 reissue Strat. Come to find out, as you can tell by the headstock, not a 57 reissue headstock, right? This is the bigger headstock. Although on the, what we got, V043623 is the serial number, which matches everything on here. Come to find out, it's a Japanese Strat, not an American. Of course, I bought it at a music store / pawn shop type place, so they probably just didn't have their information figured out. But it was seafoam green, and this is what I played in every bar from the 80s to the 2000s. And what ends up happening, I don't know if you've ever had a seafoam green guitar with cigarette smoke, which I'm not a smoker, but when you play in bars, you become a secondhand smoker. The seafoam green turned to, I'd say, dirty bathroom tile green, right? It looked bad, man. It was terrible. It looked awful. So I had it painted. In Macon, I had it painted, and this is kind of a it's a relic at this point, but it's got kind of a sparkle flake in the black right there. If you see on the side here, on the neck, do you see how thin that neck is? Someone had shaved down the back of the neck before I got it. So it's very easy to play. You don't have to, it's not like a baseball bat. It's very thin neck. The problem with this for me was it was a 7.25 radius. It was the old vintage style radius there. So anytime I would bend a string, it would fret out, no matter how high I put the action. So I played this and played this and played this, and what Evan says, yo, he says, that neck, skinnier than me, right? The neck, right? Yeah. I used to be this skinny too at one point before beer. So anyway, I want to do the David Gilmore mod on this guitar. I want to play this, my first Strat that I ever played. I want to be playing this guitar again. The pickguard will go. It's going to be a 1-ply black pickguard, which is on order, which means it doesn't have the white border around it. Got the pickups. This is a wide spacing, vintage spacing. So this bridge is a replacement bridge. It's one of the Highway 1 bridges. So it takes the routing for the wide space and makes it it makes it a modern style. If you've ever played one of those Strats where at the end of the neck, the string it's like it's almost falling off the string. That's the vintage string spacing as well. So the bridge is good. It's a replacement bridge, but this neck, I don't know about this neck. I want to have all my guitars are rosewood fingerboard, but I want to have a maple fingerboard. I want it to be a Gilmore style thing. So I may be getting a replacement neck for this guitar. Finding one that fits this neck pocket, because it's Japanese and it's a wider neck pocket, that might be a problem. If I run into a problem with that, I will do it on the other black Strat there. Okay, so that, if you want to keep up with that, that's in the Facebook group, Play Guitar Facebook group. You can, if you're not a member of that, head on over there. Evan says, I'm a fan of rosewood these days. I am too. I love playing on a rosewood neck. It's fun. It depends on the lacquer they use on the maple neck. Some of them, that neck has the shaved back on it, so it doesn't have any problem unless you're really sweating, because it's bare wood on the back. But some necks, when it's maple on the fretboard, you can even get stick when you're sliding between frets on that too. So I have one that I like the satin finishes, the maple satin finish, those usually play pretty easy too. Let's see here. Coke says, I vote new neck. Everything I've heard so far has had me cringing this entire time. What's that? What do you mean everything you've heard so far has had me cringing the entire time? Explain that to me, Coke. Okay. So in a few minutes, we're going to start the second round of the tournament, 80s guitar. We're almost got the amount we got last week. So maybe one or two more will be coming in. I've got everything set up. Next week, lights will be in, more stuff in the back. And let's see here. Evan says, Mighty Mite has the Rosewood Fender necks. Yeah, this one I want it to be a Gilmore Strat. So I'm looking at, if you go on eBay, there are actual Fender Mexican maple necks that they sell as replacement. I think they're like $250 or something like that. And the only difference I can see from them is that the logo is just a black. Doesn't have the metallic in the logo there. Kevin says, I played on a Fender Ventera Strat with a Pal Faro fretboard. Didn't like the feel. It was like sandpaper. I haven't played one of those, so I don't know. But maybe we'll take a ride down to the guitar store sometime. Let's see. Like Stratosphere cells. I'm not sure about that. Speaking of that, tomorrow I'll be going to Epcot in the morning by myself, and the family's going later on in the evening. So keep a lookout for that. Okay, so here's Coke. This was what I was waiting for. Coke says the thinness, the inability to bend without fretting out. Yeah, not a big fan of that fretboard either. Yeah, no, I mean that was my first Strat, and it said it was an American, and I liked the seafoam green at the time. I didn't know enough. I would never have bought that neck now, for me. But I'm trying. I actually, you notice that there's no finish on the fretboard. I got rid of the 7 1/4. It's a modern radius on it now, and I refretted it. So it could work. I don't know, but I don't like the big headstock for this project. I like the big headstock, the 70s style headstock. But I don't know. But you'll be seeing that in the Facebook group as we go. But you're right, Coke. The thinness, yeah, it's different. It's very different. You know what? A thinner neck, what you wouldn't realize, you think, okay, well, it puts your hand out in front of the neck easier when you get your thumb on the neck, but it actually kind of chops into the side of your finger, especially when you're bending your first finger right here. It's a little different. There. Let's see. Okay, so Evan says, now let's go back to what Evan says. Mighty Mite has the Rosewood Fender next, like Stratosphere cells. I didn't know about Stratosphere. Okay, so then Evan says they part out new fenders for parts. And I knew about that. I didn't know the name of it. And use fenders too. Talking about Stratosphere. Okay, that makes sense. And Coke says, I also think taking your old workhorse and turning it into something that feels perfect for you instead of just accepting it makes a ton of sense. Yeah, I want to play it. It has a lot. I played a lot of shows with that. And I still have 2 of the original pickups. I've got let me adjust this a little bit. I've got the neck in the middle for that. And they're great pickups. The bridge is long gone. I had replaced the bridge and I don't know. I think I had someone replace the bridge first, and then I didn't get that pickup back. This is before I was doing it a lot myself. I'm looking at it right now, so I'm looking over here. But yeah, I think it'll be fun. I just, at least to get that, the body of that maybe with a replacement neck, I think would be cool. A lot of memories with that guitar. Okay. All right. What time do we have here? It's time to get started with Best Guitarist of the 80s. Let's take a look at what we've got here. We have got, let me make this a little bit bigger. Round 1 finished, and all the way up to Eddie Van Halen took round 1. Round 2 here's the guitarists that we have for round 2. We have Paul Gilbert, Vivian Campbell, Stevie Ray Vaughan, The Edge, Yngwie Malmsteen, Prince, Peter Buck, Angus Young, Zack Wilde, Mick Mars, John Sykes, Alex Lifeson, Steve Vai, Jakey Lee, Phil Collin, and Dave Mustaine. A whole, when we were going through the guitar players in round 1 last week, I was like, well, what are the other players? This is almost all of them, right? We got a ton. There are a ton of great 80s guitar players. So we'll get this a little bit easier to see here. Let's see here. Let me bring me back in there. Our first was going to be between Paul Gilbert and Vivian Campbell. Vivian Campbell, Irish, was Dio, was in Dio, and then went on to be in Whitesnake. The what was his name? John Sykes, the post John Sykes Whitesnake. And Paul Gilbert did a lot of the shrapnel shredding. Was it Cacophony, I think, was one. Did a lot of stuff with like Jason Becker, early shred GIT guitar player guys. Then went on to what he played in Mr. Big. That was the big thing, Mr. Big, and now does his own stuff and is very YouTube famous right now. So Paul Gilbert, Vivian Campbell. What was the Dio? What was that? The Last in Line and all that stuff. Is David here? I know David was here early. Yeah, there's David. I think David's a big Dio fan here too. So this will be our first round, number 9. So let's go in. What do you think? Paul Gilbert versus Vivian Campbell. Let's set this up here. PG versus VC. And this one is maybe one that not a whole lot of people these days know a whole lot about. Hal's here. Hey, Hal. What's happening, man? Learned something about you. You're an Ozzy fan last week. That's awesome. So we got, let's see here. We got one for Paul Gilbert with Hal. David is Vivian Campbell. Love Dio. Excuse me. Def Leppard 2. That's right. Def Leppard 2. Forgot about that. So let's see. So David's Vivian. Paul. Okay, we started with Hal. Hal's Paul Gilbert. Got that. David's Vivian. Got that. Okay, then Evan's in here for Vivian. All right. Coke says Def Leppard 2 Campbell. So I guess Coke's going for Campbell there. How waves? Yeah, that's right. Oh man, that's great. I don't know why that's just great. That's great. Oh, that's right, Coke. So Chris is going Vivian. Look like Vivian's taken. Also, he has my vote. Great. I got that. I assumed but you know what happens when I assume. It usually goes the wrong way. Paul Gilbert's new album Werewolves in Portland is Werewolves in Portland is awesome. Not easy to say. Kevin's on Vivian 2. So we've got 1 for Paul, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for Vivian Campbell right now. Jason is Paul, funny dude, amazing player too. Yeah. Did you see the interview with the guy from JHS Pedals and Paul Gilbert? That was really, really funny. He's a very funny guy. Funny dude, amazing player. Yeah, he did the drill gimmick, right? I think that's what he's. The guy's a fantastic guitar player, and he's most known for the drill, the drill with picks on it, right? Which Eddie Van Halen took and did his own thing with later on too. So, So right now it's looking like Vivian. We got 5 for Vivian, 2 for Paul. Jason said he saw that. Absolutely. Yeah, it was fun. Very, very funny. I like that. Let's see here. Richard's here. Hey, everybody running late. Hi, Richard. How you doing? Jason loves the JHS. I do too, man. I do too. I'm a big Boss pedal fan too. And they talk a lot about the history of Boss pedals too. Although I don't use a ton of Boss pedals in my live stuff. I have in the past. I really like them. So Richard's here. We'll wait for Richard to see if he wants to chime in on this first one. But it's looking like Vivian. So I'm gonna give this to Vivian here. If it wants to work for me. There we go. And we'll move on to the next one. But I will add on to that as we go. So here, this is the one I've been interested in. This one's going to be interesting. I think I know how it's going to go. Pretty sure. Now let's do this. Hey. I think I'm going to get some curtains for that so that it's not so bright back there so that I can put other lights in the room. So we've got Stevie Ray Vaughan versus The Edge. Stevie Ray Vaughan, SRV versus The Edge. Very, very different guitar players. I'm a big Stevie Ray Vaughan fan, as you all know. But I love you two. I love listening to you two. I like that use of pedals. Something I like to do in my playing too. So, and the delays, getting some the dotted eighth type delays and stuff like that, I think is always fun too. The Edge also uses a lot of different amps and gets different sounds and layers them. And Stevie Ray Vaughan uses different amps, but uses them all at the same time. So he creates a sound, so, one is more of a rhythm player and one is more of a lead player too. So very, very different, but interesting. So let's go ahead. A bunch have come in here. So we've got SRV versus the EDGE. All right. So let's go see where we first one came up. Richard was in first with Stevie Ray Vaughan. We got Kevin, Stevie Ray Vaughan, David, SRV, and Coke, SRV. Hal says, I hate to lose the Edge so early. That's what I was thinking too. They really, this is all, I put them in and it randomizes them. But I say that with a long delay. Let's see if the delay's, hello? Oh, that's not set up. I had a delay set up on the board here too, but I'll have to. Everything changed. When you tear everything down, you mark settings and everything like that, it never works out perfect. I've got several things that are going to take me a week to get back to normal. But how was SRV? Let's see. Make sure I didn't miss this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 to that point. Chris is going with The Edge. Right. Got to be The Edge for me. Just get too much joy listening to some of those classic 80s songs that I have to vote for The Edge. I mean, yeah, he's fantastic. He's a fantastic player. In the Andy Summers kind of camp for me, which is I have kind of two. I really love rhythm with effects. I always love univibe type sounds. I like delay type stuff. So that's one style of playing I like. And then I'm a lead player too, and I really love lead playing too. So let's see here. Evans, Stevie, Jason's got SRV, and Cook says, I forget who it was in YouTube, but a fan asked for a signature and he said, don't ask for anything else. Someone asked for his guitar, so he literally chucked the other fan's pen and knocked. Yeah. It was funny at the time, but also hugely childish and jerky. And it's always left a bad taste. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know about this, but I do know that from playing, I played a lot of festivals, and festivals, even though we weren't, a huge band, we were good enough to be in these festivals, and you'd play along with some people who are pretty well-known people. And you learn pretty quickly that they're not always, the public perception of these people is not always how things actually are. So you can be quite surprised by some of the folks that you don't. I got to the point where it's like when you start being able to play in some things and start meeting some people, you kind of do the mental list of, oh, I'd love to meet this person. I love to meet this person. And then after a few years of that, you start to go, I don't ever want to meet this person who's like one of your favorite players. I don't want to know what they're really like. I don't want to spoil it, and it goes the other way too. I can say this way, like Hubert Sumlin was one of my favorite guitar players. He's the reason why electric guitar, to me, the things that he did on the early Halen stuff shaped electric guitar lead playing for ever after that, and having done a lot of blues stuff and we did a lot of the Handy Awards, and being around blues community, you get a little disillusioned by that too. And so you just assume, okay, this isn't going to go well. And Hubert Sumlin was about the nicest person and the funniest person that you'd ever meet, and would sit there with you. He would just stop and talk to you and compliment you, which he didn't have to do, and then tell you these amazing stories of life on the road with like Howlin' Wolf and Muddy Waters and all this kind of stuff. So every once in a while, it goes the other way too. You meet somebody who is so much cooler than you ever knew, and it just completely changes everything for that. Coke said that was a personal anecdote from my time working in a fancy hotel. Yeah. And Evan says the Edge started a charity to replace instruments lost in Hurricane Katrina. So there's that. Yeah, and they could be having a bad day. Everybody does. I do. I have bad days a lot. So who knows? Because there's people who, there's a drummer that I played with in high school who's a touring drummer now, and we were sharing some stories, and there's someone who I was at a festival, and they chucked we played first, and then we came back after they played, and they had chucked all of our guitars under the stage in water, right? So I spent 2 hours cleaning my guitar, making sure it didn't damage the guitar. And so I didn't like that person and their team so much. And the drummer that I played with said that's the best person in the whole world and did all these wonderful things for him. So, you never know. Rick's here. Hey, Rick, how you doing? So we were in, I guess, Jason was the last one for SRV. So SRV takes this one. Personally, I like both of them as guitar players. Let's see here. Okay, so here, this one's going to be fun. This one's Yngwie Malmsteen and Prince. I don't even know what to say about that. That's not a lineup. I don't think I've ever put those two players together ever. Yngwie and Prince. So let's go through it. Yngwie was it neoclassical shred, the beginning of that, right? Super fast. Kind of started with Ritchie Blackmore, and he took it and upped the classical part of it. Fantastic technique. Used scalloped fretboards. Used a Strat, which is not usually used for super fast music, hence the scalloped fretboard. And was kind of the poster child for shred guitar in the 80s, And he had a huge personality and was condescending and you know, he was a cartoon character personally. Still is, fantastic talent, and still doing the exact same thing he did. Didn't change at all. And then Prince. So Prince, as a guitar player, gets completely overlooked. Why? Because he's talented at so many different things. It's very easy to not pay attention to what a great guitar player he was. If you look at some of the Eric Clapton videos from the late 80s, early 90s, and ask him who his favorite guitar player was, Prince, straight up. He said he was getting, I think the gist of it was he was kind of getting tired of what he did, and as we all do, and was looking for different stuff. And then I think he saw the movie Purple Rain at the end, with the big solo, and couldn't believe it. Just couldn't believe it. Changed his playing just by watching him. So, and we've all talked about all the other really great Prince. It's a great rhythm player, a great lead player, and he, because he knows all the parts, everything that's going on in the song, whether he's playing it or not, he knows exactly how to voice chords and the rhythms to put those chords. Did know how to do that. It's a fantastic player. So we've got two completely different players. Let's see here. Evan came in first with this. Let me get this going here. We've got YM versus P. And Evan is going Prince. Chris is going Prince. Hal is going Yngwie for guitar. Love Prince more as a musician way through. Okay, so we got one for Yngwie. David's going Prince. Cook, he says, man, this matchup ain't exactly fair in an early bracket. One of them is getting hosed. Yeah. And Kevin says, yeah, that's tough. Yeah. Both insane on guitar. Coast going Prince. Okay. Richard's going Prince with versatility. Yes. I was more of a Stevie Vai and Randy Rhoads fan than Yngwie. I was too. The Yngwie stuff was impressive, and I had it. I bought, I don't forget what the name. I have one of his albums, and I will put it on every once in a while. But it wasn't something that I went and listened to. It wasn't like a daily listening type thing. I would do it every once in a while. So yeah. So what's it? Prince. Jason's Prince. Let's see here. Jason's Prince. Rick is Prince. Okay. Yngwie needs to be host. He's if you ever get a chance to look at some of Yngwie sightings, it's very interesting. He's a very interesting dude. So okay, so Prince takes this one hands down. Pretty fun. That was fun. Okay. All right, so what do we got next? This randomizing is hysterical. Peter Buck versus Angus Young. AC/DC versus REM. And I have lived all up and down the East Coast. I lived not all. I haven't lived in in like Maine or anything like that far north, but like from Philadelphia down. Right. And depending on where I was in the country, I could, like in when I lived in Georgia and Macon, Peter Buck would have took this easy, but up north, Angus, people would be like, who? They would be like AC/DC all the way. And then in Florida, it's back to AC/DC again. So, I was a big REM fan. I liked their songwriting. I didn't listen to it for like fantastic guitar, although it was very solid guitar. I was an AC/DC fan early on because that was one of the bands I could do. You know, I could play that and people wouldn't know it early on, and the leads weren't too terribly difficult, but they were perfect. They fit Angus Young's guitar playing style, fit what he was going for perfectly. So let's see what we've got here. PB versus AY. Okay, so Richard's in for Angus. Let's see here. What's going on with AC/DC now too? I know they had. I'm not up to date. I know they had Axl Rose singing with them. I think the lead singer had tinnitus and quit for a while and then has come back. Does anybody know what's going on with them? So Angus gets one. Evan says, love REM, but Angus wins. Me too. David's there. Angus. Jason's with the Angus. Chris says, Peter Buck is getting my vote. Being a bit controversial and underdoggy today. Okay, that's good. That's great. That's great. I love that. That's awesome. Let's see here. Angus with Coke. And Hal says, Peter Buck, all those years, all those tones, finest work song. But yep, I believe it. I believe it. Really, really great player. Callie Nash is here. Hi, Callie. How are you doing today? Welcome. We're having a guitar player shootout. If you want to take part, just when I bring up whatever the next two names are, if you've heard of those two guitar players and you like one better than the other, just put it in the chat. And then we've done this last week, and Eddie Van Halen came out on top at the end of the first round, and we're doing our second round, see who goes against Eddie Van Halen. So if you'd like to participate, you are more than welcome, and thank you for being here. Let's see here. David says, Brian's back and they put a new album out last year. Okay, cool. I hope his tinnitus is better. I have a little bit of that. Let's see. Rick says, Angus, Radio Free Europe. Yeah, that's right. And Callie says, I have a challenge for you. Can you impersonate the top female guitarist? What's your favorite female guitarist? That is actually Callie. That is one of these, an idea I'm having for one of these in the future. A throwdown of your favorite female guitarists. The band I played in for years is E.G. Kite, and she is a female guitar player. So I played in a band that was a female guitar player band. So I'm very what is your favorite, Callie? Let me know, and everybody else while we're in between one. What's your favorite female guitar player? I'm interested in that. Female lead guitar players, female rhythm guitar players, singer-songwriters. It's a lot of different ways we can go with that. That's going to be something in the future. But before that comes in, Angus Young, AC/DC, took this one. Easy on that. So there we go. Okay. And let's see what we got. Callie says, I don't have one. Okay. No problem at all. David says, my favorite female guitarist is Nilly Brosh, right? Richard's Nancy Wilson. Samantha Fish. I knew that was going to come. It's fantastic. Fantastic player. And Nita Strauss. Yep. She's good too. It's fun. She's a lot of fun on those the Alice Cooper live stuff. Really puts on a good show. How is Molly Tuttle? Yeah, there's so many different ways that you can go with this. There's great. Let's see here. Yeah, I'm going to put something together for this too. I have a lot of good ideas for that. Okay, so our next category to keep this going is Zack Wilde. Hal. Hal's probably more of a Randy Rhoads guy. But anyway, this is Zack Wilde versus Mick Mars. Now we're 80s, right? So Mick Mars, Motley Crue, right? All the way through the 80s, solid player. Okay. Great songwriter, great riffs. Let everyone else kind of take the limelight, and he was kind of holding it together. Really, really great guitar player. And all that with some health problems along the way. And Zack Weil, who probably one of my favorite players, later 80s, right? Tone wise, really for me was the harmonics and using the SD1 in front of a gained up Marshall amp, and really with the active pickups, really, really cool stuff too. And continuing on from there and doing, was it Black Label Society and everything. My favorite Zack Wilde stories is when he was, I think Dickie Betts couldn't make a gig, may have had something to do with the law. And they had heard, I guess, that Zack Wilde was a fan of the Allman Brothers. So they brought him in to do a gig, and he heavy metaled it up on an Allman Brothers show. It didn't work out so well. I wonder if they've got that on YouTube. I should see. All right, let's see what we got. We got a bunch of people let's see, we got Zack Wilde versus Mick Mars. This is a good one. I like this one. So let's get here. Coke says Maybelle Carter. That's right. We did a whole thing on finger style. Carter, I looked into a lot of finger style stuff, and that's pretty something I'm thinking about too. So Richard's got his Zach. David's on Zach. Chris is Mick Mars, legend. Right. Now, yeah, this is a tough one. It is, man. Some of these are just blowouts, right? This one's not a blowout. No, it might be though. Let's see. Zach. So we got 3-1. Jason is Zach on a Hello Kitty guitar. So he's put a little extra stipulation on that. Zach on any guitar, give him 30 strings or one string. I don't care. I want to hear it. Yeah, it's cool stuff, man. I like it. Ricky's going for Zach. Hal's going for Mick Mars. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Zach and 2 for Mick Mars. Looking like Zach's going to take this one. So I'll go ahead and put that in here. Like I said, if more come in, I can always change it later on. All right, so let's move on. So we've got John Sykes versus Alex. I've never known how to actually pronounce it. Lifeson or Lifeson. I've heard different ways different people say it. The guitar player from Rush, Alex Lifeson. I'm going to call it Lifeson. And John Sykes was Whitesnake. And then what did he do? What was it? Was it Blue Murder? I think it was after that. What did he do before Was Whitesnake his first band? I don't know. But we've been listening to some 80s guitar in as we go around Orlando here, and listen to a lot of Whitesnake. Still of the Night. I don't know. Have you ever heard Still of the Night? What? That is a song with about 5 riffs. Every single one of those riffs could have built its own song from that. Really, really cool player. And Rush, I've been a Rush fan ever since I started playing guitar. I grew up in Delaware, which doesn't really have its own radio stations, but it's so close to Philadelphia that we're considered like a suburb of Phil. It's a little teeny tiny state that I grew up in. So we would get all the Philadelphia channels, and Rush was on about every 10 minutes. So it was I saw Rush on the Presto tour. I'm a big Rush fan. Played a lot of Rush before. I only had one singer I could never sing them. I only have one singer in a band who could actually do them justice. When we did covers for those. So let's see what we've got here. We've got Chris is going for Alex Lifeson, and then John Sykes. I would bet a lot of people don't know who John Sykes is anymore. But I think what happened was he was in Whitesnake with David Coverdale, and they made that big album together, and then they got in a fight and broke up. And so the videos, that was the time of big videos with Whitesnake videos, which were huge, and it was him playing a lot of it, but they started bringing new, like Vivian Campbell. I think Steve Vai was in Whitesnake for a while. They bring in all these other guitar players, and then they actually re-recorded a lot of those songs to use the new guitar players in. It was a mess. So Chris has got Alex. Jason's got Alex. Richard's got Alex. David's got Alex. Yes, since Alex Lifeson is too hard to... I'm not even going there. Okay. Looking like we're going Rush today. All right, we're going to submit that, and wait just a second to see if we get any more votes in there, but I'm thinking that's because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 there. Mostly that's pretty much the way that's going to go. Okay, this one should be easy too. Steve Vai versus Jake E. Lee. Steve Vai versus Jake E. Lee. Steve Vai, much more well-known than Jake E. Lee. We all know Steve Vai. Crossroads as, was it Jack Butler? In the movie. Play with Frank Zappa. David Lee Roth. Did a little bit in Whitesnake we just talked about. And then all of his albums there. His guitar teacher was Joe Satriani. So, he's the more well-known. Jake E. Lee was the album Bark at the Moon, I think it was, with Ozzy. He was one of Ozzy's. He was an LA guitar player, came in. Really, really, really good. Still playing too. But this is going in, I'm seeing, let's see, Steve Vai, Jake. We got Vai here. Jason's got Vai. Richard's Vai. David, Chris. Vai's good because he was trained by Satriani. Yeah. That's right. So what is that? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 for Steve Vai. Probably going to go that way. We'll wait a few minutes. Steve Vai. I saw David Lee Roth band play with Steve Vai at the Spectrum in Philadelphia. And Poison. I didn't put Poison in this. CC DeVille. I didn't put him in in this. Poison opened up for them. That was an interesting show. It was very different. Two very different bands. The David Lee Roth band, that was some serious music, I mean, you had Dave doing his stuff, but there's the players, and what was it? Greg, it was one of the Bissonette brothers, who the one that plays drums, was on drums, and then Billy Sheehan was on bass. It was fantastic, just them going back and forth. Let's see. Coke says Vai too. So so we'll give that one to Steve Vai. I don't think Jake E. Lee's going to even come close on that. And here's our last one. Last one in round 2 before we move on to the next. Last one in round 1 before we move on to the next round. And we've got Phil Collen, Def Leppard, and Dave Mustaine, Megadeth. Okay? Phil Collins versus Dave Mustaine. And then I could have gone the lead players for me. I could have gone Marty Friedman, all that stuff. But Dave Mustaine, singer, rhythm, he does mostly rhythm. Does he do any lead? I don't know. He might do a little bit lead. See here. I'm back on. Okay. Lost connection just for a second there. Let me make sure here that I'm still connected. Okay, I'm back. Okay, so let's see. We got Phil Collins versus Dave Mustaine. Let's see here. David says David announced his retirement this week. Is that Dave Mustaine you're talking about? Richard says Phil. Rick says Phil. David says Phil. Jason says Phil. Phil Collins, but Steve Clark was better in my opinion. Interesting way of working rhythm into lead. Yeah, I saw I'm sure we've all seen the same one. It's the kind of, there was a video that kind of chronicled the Steve Clark's the things he went through in the beginning of the band. Very interesting. Very talented guy. How's going, Dave Mustaine? All right. Oh, David's announcing his retirement. Yeah. Did you notice that there was I don't know if it was a meme or something. It was on Facebook that showed an old video of Dave Lee Roth that was announcing his retirement, and it was this year. he figured this out when, in the 80s, the year he was going to retire, and it was very close to the same time that is happening. Dave. So it could be like a Kiss thing. It could be the final Vegas tour of the last 3 years. You never know. If things are going good with Dave, who knows what could happen. I just love watching Dave Lee Roth. He is different. So Coke's got Dave Mustaine. So we've got Phil Collins for Dave Mustaine 2. I'm going to call that for Phil here. And let's head on. Let's do round 2. Let's see if we can get this going on here. So the first part of round 2, Vivian Campbell versus Stevie Ray Vaughan. Zippity Bob. Yeah. Yeah. And Chris says that might have been at the end of the Little Ain't Enough video. Yeah, great song and video, Jason Becker. So I don't know who did the Little Ain't Enough. Yeah, I don't know who did the solo for that though. But yeah, that they showed it. It was kind of like in the background on like a marquee, something like that. So Jason's in first with Stevie Ray Vaughan. So here we're round 2. So Stevie Ray Vaughan, Vivian Campbell. So Jason is in first, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Steve, hey Steve, how you doing? We've been thinking about you guys today. I hope everything's going good for you. Good to see you, man. We got Stevie Ray Vaughan. Jason's got Stevie Ray Vaughan. Rick, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Richard was answering the question before. Jason Becker, I think. And Richard, Stevie Ray Vaughan too. So we've got 5 for Stevie Ray Vaughan. From the way that the votes are coming in, don't think Vivian can come back for that one. So Stevie is taking it again. So let's go to our next one here in round 2. Prince versus Angus Young. David's back in with Stevie Ray Vaughan on that last one. Prince versus Angus Young. Interesting. Steve's wet but hanging in there. Is it going? You got the weather going on? Got the weather going on there? We're actually it rained every day here for 3 months, and now it just quit. Now it's nice and dry here. Okay, let's see here. Chris says Prince. So we have Angus Young versus Prince. So Chris is in first with Prince. David's in for Angus. Coke's Prince by a mile. Jason's Angus. Steve is Prince. This one's close. So we got 3 for Prince, 2 for Angus Young. I'm holding on for this one. We're going to see what we got here. 4 inches in 2 days. Oh, goodness gracious. That's a bunch. That's a bunch. Richard says Prince, but I feel that was good. Prince, but I feel dirty. Okay, let's see here. So Prince 4, Angus Young 2. We'll give it a minute or two before we go through that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Okay. Let's see here. David says Angus is a much bigger influence in the 80s. So we got 3 for Angus, 4 for Prince. And we got a good group of people. If you're watching right now on YouTube, don't have to participate. Happy that you're here. I can see there's a lot of folks here. Welcome. This is something we do every Wednesday. Probably going to be doing it more as the next couple months go on. Maybe, who knows how often it'll be. But this is the Play Guitar community. Folks who may be part of the academy or just these hangouts that we do from time to time. We're just having fun, just rating some guitar players and reminiscing and talking about the different styles and everything like that. So you're welcome to join in if you want to, but we're happy that you're here. And make sure, everybody, to press the like. I'm going to start. It was all I could do to just get these things going on at first. But over the next 3 months, these are going to be a big part of what we do. So please press the like button so we can get this out to some more people. I've noticed we've had a few new folks pop in today, and we're going to try and build this up and do some different things as we go. Okay, so please make sure to hit the like button. If you've got a second, I'd appreciate that. And okay, so that's all that came in for that. So we've got Prince 4, Angus Young 3. I'm going to give it to Prince. All right. We've got 2 more in round 2. Zack Wilde versus Alex Lifeson. New page here. Zack Wilde versus AL. ZW versus AL. Initials work if you don't feel like doing all that. So we got 1 for Alex. Chris is in for Alex there. And this is usually how it happens. It takes a long time to get through round 1, and then we just blow through 2, 3, and 4. We'll be done in a few minutes here. So Chris has got Alex Lifeson. Jason's going Zach. Richard's Alex. David reads Zach. Coke, Zach. Steve's got Alex. And Rick has got Zach. So right now, up to Rick, we've got 4 for Zach and 3 for Alex. And we do have a lot more folks in here than just 7. So we'll see. We'll give it a minute here. See which way this is going to go. Looking ahead, 1 more round here. I think I know how that one's going to go too. So we'll give it a second. Looking like Zach's going to take this. We don't get anyone else. Okay, we'll give this to Zach for the moment, just to make sure that we've got time for all of this. Okay, and the last one we have for round 2, Steve Vai versus Phil Collen. Steve Vai versus PC, Phil Collen. Phil Collen. Coke is in quick. Let's see here. So Steve Vai versus Phil Collen. Let's see here. Jason's got Vai. Richard's got Vai. David's got Vi. Steve's got Steve. I'll give a second here. Rick's got Vi. I'm curious what Chris was going to say, and he just popped in. Vi. Okay. Cool. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Steve Vai takes this one easy. So there you go, Steve. All right, so now we're in round 3 of our second day of this. Stevie Ray Vaughan versus Prince. Stevie Ray Vaughan versus Prince. So here's what we have left. We have Stevie Ray Vaughan versus Prince, and we got one more after that. So SRV, Prince. Both very popular. Both on a lot of hits. Prince, you could say, had a lot more hits, depending on where you were listening. If you were listening to rock stations back then, rock stations, they weren't classic rock. That wasn't a thing. It was just rock. And Stevie Ray Vaughan was like the blues guy on the rock stations. You would get the blues stuff there. Although, Prince was usually on a different radio station, more pop type stuff. So let's see here. Steve first. We got SRV, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Jason, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Rick, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Chris, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Richard, and David. That one, pretty much a blowout there. Okay. There we go. We're going to submit that. Who's going to go up against Stevie Ray Vaughan? Let's see here. Coke said Prince. Okay, so I got you down, Coke, for Prince for that one. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We got 6-1 on that last one. So Zack Wilde versus Steve Vai. Zack Wilde versus Steve Vai for 80's guitar player. Who was better in the 80's? Zack Wilde or Steve Vai? Okay, Richard's in first. Richard's saying Vai. And let's see here. Coke says, SRV didn't live long enough to win. I'll die on this hill. Okay, so that's Zach then. I see, yeah. So let's see here. Chris says Vi. Steve says Vi. Coke says Zach. Steve Vai for Steve. Vi for Jason. Vi for Rick. Okay, so pretty much Steve Vai's got that one. Don't think he can come back. Zach can come back from that. And that brings us... Oh, this is going to be interesting. So here we are. This is round 4. We'll do the round 4 for day 2, which is Stevie Ray Vaughan versus Steve Vai. Very different guitar players. Very different. In the 80's, I would play, on a day that I'd pick up the guitar, I would play Stevie Ray Vaughan and I would play Steve Vai. Some Steves. Okay, so let's see here. The first to come in was Rick. So Rick, let's see, SRV versus SV. Initials are almost the same. First name's the same. Very different guitar player. So let's see here. Rick had SRV, was the first one to come in. Steve has SRV. David's got Steve Vai. Chris is going Steve Vai. So up to Chris. Neck and neck, 2-2. Coke says Vai since Prince was robbed. And smiley face. There. Okay, so we got Steve Vai with 3, Stevie Ray Vaughan with 2. Let's see here. Let's see what we got. We're going to wait a second on this one. This one I'm going to wait because the winner of this is going on against Eddie Van Halen. So let's see here. Richard says SRV. Says this is down to choosing absolute favorites. We're tied. We are tied up. Steve Ray Vaughan, Steve Vai. Tied up. 3-3. So, the other folks that are here, this is your time to shine. Who's going to break this tie? Stevie Ray Vaughan, 80s blues rock. I guess you could say blues rock. It was on the rock stations. It was devastating blues is what people say all the time. Steve Vai. I'm going to wait for this one. I'm not going to be the tiebreaker for this one. I'm not going down this road. Let's see. Who hasn't? Chris is in this one. Well, the Steves. That's right. Let's just wait. We got some folks in here. Just SRV or SV. Jason, I vote Steve. I don't want to break this tie. I don't want to do it. I like both of them a lot. For me, I'll tell you who I would vote Stevie Ray Vaughan just because had more of an impact for my playing. So I've seen. It says cop out, throw some shade, Lee, break the tie. Well, I'm telling you, I would pick Stevie Ray Vaughan. I would, for me personally. Although both of them were I like both of them. For my playing Stevie Ray Vaughan, I went more that direction than the Steve Vai direction. I listened to Stevie Ray Vaughan more, but I listened to both of them. So if let's see here. Now Jason said I vote Steve. Stevie or Steve? I got the wink, the smiley face with the wink. Jason breaks it with SRV. Okay. All right. And I'm with you on that. If I was in it, I would go that way too. And that makes an interesting final. Rick says smart pick Lee. Well, I'm in there with Jason too. So, but that makes an interesting final. Because if it was Steve Vai and Eddie Van Halen, so let me get this here so we can see our last standing. Eddie Van Halen versus Stevie Ray Vaughan. David says if SRV wins, we'll back final vote easy. Okay. If it was Steve Vai against Eddie Van Halen, I'm pretty sure Eddie this is just my opinion. I'm pretty sure Eddie would take that easy. This is different. Eddie Van Halen versus Stevie Ray Vaughan. These are both game changers. Both of these guitar players are game changers. Eddie changed hard rock music forever. Stevie Ray Vaughan changed blues and blues rock music forever. These are like Jimi Hendrix type deals, or like Kurt Cobain type deals. Someone who comes in and blows everyone away and comes at it from a different place. So I like this matchup. I'm interested to see how this is going to go. So let's see here. So this is a good one. This is for all the marbles. EVH versus SRV. Both three initial dudes here. Okay, so let's see. Steve's got SRV. Stevie Ray Vaughan. Rick's got Stevie Ray Vaughan. David's got Eddie Van Halen. This is tough. This is a tough one. Some of these rounds, you can tell how tough they are by how quick the comments come in. This one, not so much. Here's Chris. Chris has got Eddie Van Halen. So we're tied. Up to Chris, we're tied. Right? And then Richard comes in and says, Stevie Ray Vaughan, I have tremendous respect for Eddie Van Halen, but Stevie Ray Vaughan's probably my absolute favorite. Okay, so Stevie Ray Vaughan. Steve says SRV took the rock and blues scene. I got your vote earlier though, right? Yeah, so you were the first one to say SRV, I think. Yeah, so we have 1, 2, 1, 2, Richard. And Coke comes in with Eddie Van Halen. We're tied. We are tied. 3 for Eddie, 3 for Stevie Ray Vaughan. And Rick says, good call, Richard. Same here. Yep. So we're tied. Eddie Van Halen, Stevie Ray Vaughan. This is going to be interesting. We have 6 votes in. And let's see. Actually, the last one we got only 6 votes came in. But the one before that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we had 8 votes come in. Jason says not again. Did you vote, Jason? Yeah. Nope. But here he is. It's me and you, Jason. Coke says, just to be fair, I would have given it to Eddie Van Halen over Prince, too. Yeah. And I don't think this could just be me. I could be wrong. I don't think Steve Vai would have gone against Eddie Van Halen either. Not sure though. Steve says, well, Lee, who you going to vote for? That's tough. 80's guitar. Eddie Van Halen, Stevie Ray Vaughan. First, let's see here. First, I started when I was 12 to 20. From 12 to 20, for 8 years, first 8 years would have said Eddie Van Halen. From 20 on, I would have said Stevie Ray Vaughan. Rick says, my grandson is here. He's only 15 months, but wants to vote for Stevie Ray Vaughan. Well, we'll give your grandson. He's only 15 months. I thought I didn't process. I thought I was 15 years old. I was saying 15 months. I don't know. Like thinking 80s household names specifically for guitar. EVH blows everyone away. Yeah. So in the 80s, I was born in 70. So if I have to pick, I'm going to pick it from in the 80s. I'd say Eddie Van Halen. I saw Stevie Ray Vaughan at the end of the 80s and got into him more after that. So if I had to pick, I would go Eddie Van Halen for 80s guitar, best guitarist of the 80s. I'd say Eddie Van Halen. But that would be in the 80s. For the rest of my life, Stevie Ray Vaughan was much more influential. So I think I'm going Stevie Ray Vaughan. Change my mind. I'm going Stevie Ray Vaughan. I would say best guitarist of the 80s, Stevie Ray Vaughan. That's who did. And Steve said no. Yeah, I think I'm going Stevie Ray Vaughan. I think I am. Eddie Van Halen was my younger days, but if I think of it as a whole, Stevie Ray Vaughan. So I'm going to say that unless no one else chimes in. I'm going to say SRV. That's how I'm going to do it. Let's see here. Jason says, same. I blossomed in SRV, so I'll stick with it. Steve says yes. He went from no to yes. Right. What's a good album to listen to get into SRV? There's two phases of Stevie Ray Vaughan. There's the before getting sober phase, and there's the after getting sober phase, which was really only one album, the last one. A lot of people listen to the last one. It's the one with like Houses Rock and all that stuff. And it's very different. Very different. I tend to like the earlier stuff. I tend to like the stuff where he's just flooring it. And he's flooring it all the time. Steve says the first album. I'd say the first album too, Texas Flood. I think it's a great one to get into. But if I was going to say if I was going to take someone like Chris who's interested in getting Stevie Ray Vaughan, I wouldn't even say the albums. Excuse me. I would say Live at the Elma Combo. Let me Live from the Elma, MOCAMBO. It was a video, Live at the Elma Combo. It's a live video by Stevie Ray Vaughan and Double Trouble. It was in Toronto during the Texas Flood tour. This is a 3-piece. This is not when Reese Winans was playing keyboards in the band. It's a 3-piece. And it is, the word they use for Stevie Ray Vaughan is devastating, right? And it is. I like it better than Jason says there's the live collection at Austin City Limits video. And that's interesting because he did 2 of the Austin City Limits. So he did the one early on, and then he did the one later on where he was cleaned up. And that's very interesting. I like watching that so I can see how far he's come in a long time. And, the playing is very different on those 2, but both of them are fantastic. He's just coming at it from a different place. But if I was going to watch something that every time I saw it just blows me away, it's Live at the Elma Combo. Let's see here. I need to stop this before let's put it on mute. Here's Testify. Somebody put this on. I'm going to put this in the chat here. So the link I just put in is YouTube for Testifying. I think they might have cut Testify from the Elma Combo. But there's a whole series. It was a video. It was like a DVD that came out of the whole concert. It's fantastic. If anyone wants to see someone who is just playing guitar and is just in a complete zone, like he's not even there, just playing, that's the one that I would say to listen to. All right, everybody. Okay, so we gave this to Stevie Ray Vaughan, although Eddie Van Halen could have easily gone either way. Just to be honest with myself, if I'm the one that has to break the tie, he would be more important to me than Eddie Van Halen, although Eddie Van Halen was probably the reason I got into it in the first place. So tomorrow, if you ask me, I would maybe say it differently. But for right now, that's the way it is. And check out one of these videos, one of the album combo videos. I may want to get that again. I don't know if I still have that one or not. That was awesome. And the Austin City Limits, so you can see the difference in his playing as we go. And Live at Montreux, that's right. That's pretty cool too. I got that as well. That was a good one too. Okay, everybody. This was fun. This was a lot of fun. Went a little longer than normal, but hey, we had a lot of guitar players to get through. I enjoy this. And next week, I have no idea what we're going to do next week. I've got some ideas about it. It could be a Kahoot type thing, or it could be another elimination. If anyone has an elimination round that they're thinking about, let me know. You got any ideas? If not, that's fine. I've got some fun things that we could do with this as well. Also, hey, Rick says thanks, great, but Coke says video liked. Thank you, Coke. I appreciate that. Please like the videos. We're just going to bring people into this one at a time and just grow this organically. We're just going to try and bring some people in we have fun hanging out with and see how big this can get. And we're going to be adding some days on as we go over the next 3 months. So by the end of 3 months, this should be doing pretty good too. Okay, everybody. Great to see you, Coke and Rick, Steve, Jason, Chris. Let's see here. Who else do we have? Richard. It's great to see you. David, great to see you. Jason, great to see you. And any of the other folks, if I've missed anybody, I apologize. But I will see you next Wednesday with a whole new, probably another elimination round. These are a lot of fun. And have a great week. And let's see here. Steve said 60s top players. Yeah, we did 70s and 80s. Did we do 60s? Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to go back and see. There's a couple different ways that we can do this too. And Jason says, have a great day, everybody. Adios, amigos from Coke. And I'll see you next Wednesday. And we're going to start growing this thing. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.